these things were made to be addictive. They're made to grab eyeballs and not let go.
That this young generation seems less capable to deal with stress than previous generations. That is true.
Are more likely to struggle with mental health challenges than other generations.
Entire generation that has access to an addictive, numbing chemical called dopamine through social media and cell phones as they're going through the high stress of adolescence.
It's no secret, Gen Z is miserable. They have the highest amount of mental health issues, highest depression rates, highest amount of stress, and highest addiction rates. But why? Why does this generation struggle more than all before them despite growing up in one of the most peaceful and prosperous centuries? Well, what if I told you it's due to the rise of artificial addiction?
We now know that many of the major social media companies hire individuals called attention engineers who borrow principles from Las Vegas casino gambling, among other places, to try to make these products as addictive as possible.
Where I think we have created tools that are ripping apart the social fabric of how society works.
The attention economy and this race for attention got more and more competitive.
We're, essentially putting highly addictive drugs into the hands of kids.
Artificial addiction is a term to describe the advancements of human-made addiction using AI. To give you a little taste, this is Soji Chu, the current CEO of TikTok. The algorithm their company created is what Forbes describes as very similar to a slot machine in Vegas. In psychological terms, it's called random reinforcement. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. At the end of the day, that is what these social media companies have created, gambling for dopamine. So how does dopamine play a part in the miserable generation? First, dopamine is a chemical messenger which plays a role in how we feel pleasure. But even before we knew what dopamine was, humans have been taking advantage of others with it since the dawn of time, with gambling being around as early as 3000 BCE. And as time progressed, humans' ability to capitalize on the addictive nature of others progressed with it. This takes us to the early 2000s when social media companies such as MySpace, Facebook, and Twitter began to understand the potential of their sites. It was revolutionary as they managed to reach billions of users, and they had no limit in how much they could make, as top companies at the time were making billions yearly. This meant companies became increasingly incentivized to invest more and more to keep people as addicted as possible to their apps. It's gotten so bad that our society practically runs on it. Every day, every hour, every second, our brains are craving a rush. Whether it be TikTok, Instagram, or even YouTube, Gen Z has taken the brunt of it all, consuming around 7.2 hours a day on their screens for a total of 50.4 hours a week. And that's just the average. Kids and young adults are extremely impressionable. And when you consider these companies have hired the most brilliant minds, is it really a surprise they can't get off their screens? I mean, the algorithms they have created are genius from a technical standpoint. Every video is tailored to you specifically, and is rewarding you in just the right amounts to keep you endlessly scrolling. It's so unbelievably well done that you can scroll for hours, and when you finally get off, you won't have any idea what you have just watched. Yet you go back day after day, night after night, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, always on the app. And this is just the beginning as well, as COVID has yet to hit, which I'll talk about later. But first, to truly show you the danger of this new wave of social media, I'll use TikTok as an example, as TikTok has to literally remind you to get off their platform. It also has the largest Gen Z audience, and by far has one of the most successful formulas to keep you on their platform. The average attention span of Gen Z in today's world is 8 seconds. And it's hard to blame them because of the algorithm social media companies use. With its revolutionary attention-grabbing formula, TikTok has gained over 100 million users in the first year. How, you might ask? Well, ByteDance, the creator of TikTok, bought the user base and data from the popular app called Musical.ly. All TikTok needed to do was just fix what caused these other short video format sites like Vine to fail, and they did this to perfection. You see, the biggest reason Vine failed was because it had very few creators who had little to no monetary incentive to make videos. This made the app seem repetitive as there was such a lack of content being produced. ByteDance fixed this problem though by making it so anyone could blow up on TikTok with just one video, making fame the new incentive to make videos. This, tailored with the easy-to-use editing and posting features the app offered, meant that all viewers now became posters. This caused kids to endlessly make cringy, stupid, and even downright dangerous content, in the hopes that one day they too will become famous. The possibility to become famous, coupled with the gambling mechanics from the slow, consistent release of dopamine, made it an instant success. Already, this was extremely immoral and made it difficult for Gen Z to concentrate on long-term goals, like doing homework or making friends. But that's just the beginning. The longer you are on the platform, the more addicted you become. TikTok has been known to data harvest, and every time you scroll, they optimize your For You page to your preference. After a few days, they know you better than you know your own self. Many of Gen Z are stuck in the loop TikTok has made for them, and it's no surprise the rate of depression, anxiety, stress, and mental health are going up. How could it not, when most of the generation is stuck trying and failing to live up to impossible standards? And this was all happening before COVID even hit. COVID lockdown saved millions, and it was the right choice, but without a doubt, it caused mental illness rates to skyrocket worldwide. But the effect it had on the youth who struggled in online school, couldn't socialize, had nothing to look forward to, and were still developing their brains was even more damaging. Let me also add that this was all happening while social media platforms were really beginning to develop formulas on creating artificial addiction. So Gen Z with impressionable minds, no socializations, and the only thing to do being scrolling social media really played into companies' hands. These 2 years of lockdowns allowed platforms like TikTok I talked about earlier to perfect their algorithms and optimize each person's experience. When Gen Z finally started to return to school in person, it was too late. 61% of them started to develop anxiety, 42% developed depression, and 18% of them developed severe depression from just the isolation. And thanks to social media, they almost all had developed an addiction to their screens. They socialized less, struggled to focus on anything that didn't give them an immediate dopamine high, and overall just seemed lost. So what's the solution to this? The simple solution seems to be just quit, but most have tried and ended up coming back a week later due to FOMO. Not to mention some having to deal with social media withdrawal. Yes, that is a real thing. And nearly 60% of participants in the study experienced a relapse over the 7-day absence period. Gen Z is drowning in statistically insane rates of mental illnesses. And yet, artificial addiction is only improving. It's as if a generation has been forgotten in favor of greed. Fortunately, many of the older Gen Z will escape the grasp of these addictions, as the earliest social medias weren't as bad. But for those who are still young, or the upcoming Gen Alpha, I worry, as they will start on platforms that almost mastered artificial addiction and will give these companies decades worth of information about themselves. I fear these addictions, if not prevented early, could end up decimating any possible long-term achievements they could have had before. I just hope it's not too late to change things around.